Hello, you're listening to the Excellent News Delivery podcast, delivering the most excellent news directly to you. I'm your host, Sam. This podcast is all about sort of talking about the creative world, creative people, and what they're up to. I've got John with me today, if you want to say hello.
Hiya.
So I think what I really want to sort of start with you here is focusing a bit on film, because we've done a bit of film work before, and I think I've honestly, with cinematography, I think it's such an underappreciated part of film. But for you, I've never met someone who has such an eye for cinematography.
Well, yeah. So, hi, I'm John Saywood, by the way. Yeah. Basically, I just love that whole thing. I love seeing films. I love watching telly. I love, the internet. I love kind of all forms of media, like wide spectrum. And cinematography is something I noticed I could do rather well. Not rather well, but I had a vague understanding of how to get by.
Hmm.
And so I always went for the best looking stuff, the best equipment, all this kind of, that you need that eye, but yeah, that's kind of my thing, I'd say. Just to overdo it, probably.
Hmm.
Perfectionist.
Well, no, I mean, so just to sort of harken back on the cinematography, one of the big things we did is like we went to this beach, I think like I want to say at midnight or like 1 a.m. in the morning to get some amazing like shots just for this film. And I think like even at that time, I don't think you were directly responsible for cinematography, but you have such an eye, you just sort of catch that extra detail. And I think in the world of film, it makes and breaks a film when you can't like capture like, the realism or like the actual sort of energy of the room.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah. So my official title for Gone with the Tide, which was the project that Sam's referring to, um, I was producer on that. So, maybe cinematography wasn't necessarily under my kind of role, but I really wanted to set a precedent. This is gonna have to look good because that even on show reel, it's the first thing people are gonna see. So, if I had a hand in getting people the best shots, then I'd definitely do it. I'd
Hmm.
definitely try.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
I mean, and it's like I remember we did like this short film. It was I want to say it was Shell Fairy, which is more as like a sort of parody of like other sort of imaginative characters, but set on the beach. But again, there it's like you say, it's the first thing anyone sees in a film is the actual sort of cinematography, and that will just make or break it.
absolutely. That Shell Ferry was a very fun project to go through because it wasn't necessarily about the look. We were definitely more towards that spontaneity there. We kind of wrote the script like on the way to the shoot, and it's quite funny, and we were coming up with ideas on the trot. So that's the kind of the ideal shoot, I think. It
Hmm.
looks good, sounds good, and it's rather funny.
Totally. I mean, like, I still remember the thing that is like so vivid in my memory is like there's a sequence where like the person who's the shell fairy is just sort of walking about and he mentions his like friend like the ocean master or something, and there's just you and you just the camera just pans to you and you just spit up water. Like there's
Yeah,
something
nice
that's
little
just
cameo there.
there's just something so simplistic. I just remember seeing that and like I remember going from that uh, filming shoot, just like I think we got the shot, but I think like 5 seconds after we got that shot, everyone just broke down.
Yeah, I
Uh,
even put that in the edit because like hearing the crew laugh, I just think just makes the whole thing.
mm.
Yeah, really entertaining that. Uh,
But not just to lean on the film stuff, but I'd like to say you're quite a sort of handyman in the media world, to put it simple. And like you've jumped into so many different projects from like your graphic stuff to your film stuff to even like animation. I think animation is such an attention to detail, like, and time focused project. And what would you say sort of is like the hardest bit getting into the animation world?
Well, yeah, that's the kind of spectrum thing I was talking about. I love doing everything. So animation is probably kind of starts with the flip books and your Lego. Uh, I definitely have a few Lego animations under my belt, but that's probably the easiest, you know, way in, you stop motion, then you get an idea about your keyframes and stuff like that. So then those skills kind of carry over when you take it to like various animation software such as like Animate or even Photoshop or Blender.
Hmm.
And then it's just really tutorials. You just need to crank out all of the YouTube tutorials, make your own playlist and then just watch all of them.
No, but it's really cool to hear that. And I mean, but what would you say is sort of like in a creative process, where would you go from like the initial concept in your head to like, you know, drafting out an idea and then taking it to the animation world of like, are you more sort of pen and paper, or would you say like, more of a modeling, 3D modeling, planning it out and then animating sort of thing?
Yeah, so really I want to start the script because like, people can make pieces of art or graphic design or whatever, but when you're making an animation, you need to know where you're going. Otherwise, it's going to be difficult when you're halfway through. Um, and that goes with the animation style as well. You make different parts of the animation, then you do the in-betweens. So there is a lot of planning involved. For my newest thing that I've made just out of uni, the Hare and the Tortoise, um, that starts off as a script, and basically it's like, oh, we've got this story, but how do we make it weird? And then we start writing it, and then we can start figuring out how we do the style.
Mm.
But
Well,
yeah, it's kind of, it changes the process. The process does definitely change.
I mean, like the script is something that, like regardless of like, if it's a documentary, it's a fictional, non-fiction piece, or like even animation, it's such a central point that like determines the way the film or like the project is going to go. And it's that, I harken back to it, but the attention to detail, and that's the sort of thing like with people like you in the creative industry, you have such an eye for that sort of thing. So even like when we're out shooting, you're considering like what's going on in that like, bottom corner frame of the shoot, or like, you know, are we going to match on like the perfect sun time to catch this like golden hour for a shoot? And it's that sort of like attention to detail that really will just elevate a project from just, average to beyond.
Yeah, I mean, you're completely right there. If you can control the variable, I think you should. It definitely should consider all aspects of what's in the frame and stuff.
Mm,
Um, and I don't know, it just excites me. It gets me going. It's that kind of thing. And actually, like, there's a plug for Arc Studio Pro, probably the best script writing software. Definitely sad that like Adobe Adobe Story and some of the other cheaper script writing softwares are not being updated anymore. So that's a really good one. That's what
mm,
I've been using, anyways.
that's really nice.
But
So what
yeah,
would you say is like kind of your overall most like sort of not best project, but your most favorite one that you've worked on?
um, well, Shell Fairy is really good, but I'd have to say Nathan purely based on how well it's done overall. Nathan was a documentary about this tragic passing of Nathan Hunt, 39-year-old Nathan Hunt, who killed himself in 2018 after uh, battling PTSD for a number of years. Basically, we talked to the parents about his life and the events leading up to his passing, and it has since been selected for numerous festivals. And that I'm really pleased about how well that's done. And yeah, I'd
Mm.
say that's probably my magnum opus at the moment, my Citizen Kane.
Well, I mean, I think you film it so like beautifully, and I think especially with such a heavy topic, I think you're so respectful and like responsive towards like what's being shown, and like even in the editing process, it shows your care to like want to tell this story, but have the utmost respect and make sure you're not disrespecting any memories or anything like that. And I think again, that's a beautiful little extra detail that makes these films so memorable. And like you say, they help go further when you can show like the true nature of it.
Yeah, I think that's really important. You got to be ethical. I remember talking to my tutors and stuff like that. How do we portray this story? And once we figured it all out. Because you know, as a student, as like a 19-year-old, you don't really know how to do all this kind of stuff.
Hmm.
So you definitely need that guidance. And when when we had it, you know, we could definitely portray this story in the best, you know, in the best light.
Oh, of course. But anyway, I think it's fantastic the stuff you're doing, but we'll kind of move on to our news segment. So for those not
Enough
watching,
about me. Sorry.
no, that's a smooth jab. But for those who haven't watched the show before, this is all we talk about some positive news going on in the world, just to sort of like brighten the day and just share what sort of like lovely things people are getting up to. Because, you know, it's lovely to see when people sort of connect with each other and help one another at the moment. But anyway, our first topic we've got is a city in Alaska is now housing its homeless, which again is lovely because we get a lot of these stories, especially like in America where places are starting to try and open up and like help people out, especially with all this virus stuff going on. And it's these small things that really help make a difference. Like England's done a heavy amount of that already. And it's lovely to see these countries opening up their doors to help others.
Yeah. Um, I mean, it's a no-brainer, really. If you've got the space, you should definitely house the people that can't necessarily, you know, can't stay in a home, especially in Alaska, where I imagine it's quite cold.
But anyway, I think this one will have a bit more interest to you. I think I've managed to find, I think, the perfect story for you. Um, so a scientist has designed a tiny, first of its kind camera backpack to film Ant-Man's perspective from an insect's back. So it's like the world's smallest camera you've ever seen attached to like an ant's back.
That's sick. That's
So
so cool.
I mean, honestly, the pictures alone of like the shots they can get from it is crazy. But you know, like with a lot of sort of large animals, it's easier to like set up some sort of camera or like to set it up in a location where the animals will come over to. But from such a small animal's perspective, you've got to think that's an amazing sort of development in the world of
Yeah.
cinematography.
It's incredible. I can't wait for the documentary. There's bound to be one. You know, you can just see it now. The life of ants. You know,
Mm,
narrated by Attenborough or whatever. And it's cool what they're doing with the, you know, the camera. I can't believe that. Just, you know, everything
mm.
we've seen about ants really have been a Bug's Life and ants, and that's really
Both
the
very,
only
I
big
think,
animations.
real stories and
Actually, well,
quite captivating in that sense.
there's a YouTube channel called like Ants Canada, which is really cool. It kind of shows the thought process behind different species of ants, and they're all in an aquarium, and he gives them food, and there's like wars that happen sometimes, and it's kind of yeah. There's a little plug as well. Ants Canada.
I was going to say this is the perfect story for you. You love your film stuff and you love your ant stuff.
Yeah, I love ants.
That's the quote we can strongly go by. If we had to like caption this episode, it would just be "I love ants."
I
Uh,
mean, they're not cute or anything, but they are very industrious, I'd say.
mm. But anyway, so this has been done by the University of Washington, which is quite interesting. And their first ever live video has been filmed from the back of a moving beetle, which again is quite big things there. But anyway, to move us on to our next story, over in India, there are 2 million people who have gathered to plant 20 million trees along the river. I believe it's Ganges, if I'm saying it right. But they've all kept to a social distancing and everything else, which is lovely because I think it was last year we were getting a lot of team tree sort of thing where people were like donating to plant trees and stuff and to help that movement. And it's great again to see, you know, the aim to preserve nature and to push it
Mm.
further.
I mean, the deforestation in different countries around the world is very bad, and also like forest fires and stuff. We kind of just need to like bring all these trees back. You know, for every
Mm.
one gone we need to plant two. The amount of trees we're knocking down to make
But
paper and stuff.
it's lovely to see that, like, while obviously keeping to a social distance, people are making the consistent effort to try and help and trying to better the environment. Which is, like you said, there has been so many, forest fires and that sort of stuff that has taken it down, and it's wonderful to see people coming together to try and make a difference.
Absolutely.
Um, but to
More
go back,
trees.
we're going from nature to technology again. We have a giant floating balloon will bring internet access to 20,000 square miles in remote Kenya. So it's, again, not normally an area that you'd be able to connect online and stuff, but it is quite literally like a hot air balloon kind of system they've got going, um, that will just
Just
be sort of lifted, it will float amongst the air. And it's been made sorry, 2 seconds, in Kenya itself with Google as partners to bring Loom projects to Africa.
ah, as if, yeah, but it just takes one person downloading a new update to COD to completely ruin everyone's internet.
I thought you were going to
A
go along the
single
lines.
balloon to bring miles of internet. What? How are they managing that?
I was thought you were going to go. It's going to take a single person to pop the balloon, but we went
Oh, right,
completely.
no, you're very right. That could happen as well.
But we went straight for what they're going to do. They're going to make great use of the internet and go straight for Call of Duty.
These COD updates, though, they're huge.
And just to wrap off this nice little news segment, a company projects smiley face on London's Parliament across from a hospital. And I think it's a cute little thing, especially, where it's being hit from Parliament. It's directly in the hospital's view site. And I think it's a nice little, just positive atmosphere. And it's like these small things make such an impact. Like living over in Poland, there was one of the favorite things I had that happened yesterday was this guy just walking around with a sign that says "Have a lovely day" in Polish, and he was just holding up to cars that were driving by. And it's those nice little, 2-second things that make such a difference.
That's nice. I do like that. Yeah, I mean, it's up there with like you kind of saying that on a daily basis. Oh, like good evening, good morning, that kind of stuff. Opening doors for people. It's
I,
that
th-
nice, like courtesy.
I thought we were going
And
for a
if we can,
Truman there for a second. A good evening, good morning, and if I don't see you, good night.
oh, could have done it. Could have done it.
Oh, but yeah, I think it's a generally lovely sort of act to do, and I think things like the trees and replaying them, those will have a big impact on the long run, and it will make such a difference. But it's nice when people make the effort to also just try and make someone else's day a little bit happy, or try and encourage a bit of positivity.
No, you're right. Absolutely. I mean, yeah, just even smiling it's a great way to make someone feel better about their day.
Mm.
But really, at the moment, behind a mask, people are going to have to guess that you're smiling.
That's very true, and I think it's wonderful. So, what were you saying that Ant channel was again? The where you were learning about
And Ants Canada.
Ants Canada. That's
Uh,
a
yeah,
unique one. I
yeah,
haven't heard that one before.
it's quite good. Yeah, a bit clickbaity, but it's a really nice dude, and he interacts with his audience really well.
Oh, I love. I was going to say if it's like more of an ant drama series or something.
What, like?
Is
No, I could see that. I mean, now that they got the cameras on the ants, we can make something out of that.
we can make an Hell's Kitchen, but with ants.
Yeah.
Oh, that just shows too much what I've been watching. It's one of those drama
Oh,
shows that
Hell's Kitchen, incredible.
it's all on Amazon Prime at the moment. I've been addicted to that. But yes. Anyway, to move on from our sort of news segment, we have our sort of film quiz. For those who haven't heard it before, I sort of go with one theme and I look for the most awful summaries or synopsis of films and TV shows, and I read them out, and people have to guess what film or TV show I'm referring to. I can say to you, Jordan, the average, I think, for like 4 of the people been on the show is 6. We've got one who got 7, one who got 8, and one who got 9, or 2 who got 9, actually, sorry. So if you can score a perfect 10, you can take first place.
Ah, all right. Well, we'll try it. We'll try it. I'm in.
And I can say this is probably one of my favorite themes that I've done, purely because I've been watching too many of his films, but I went with a Danny DeVito theme. So these are all films or TV shows that involve Danny DeVito.
All right. Okay.
Right. Anyway, we'll start you off with your first one. Ted, a 12-year-old boy, sets out to search the long-extinct truffula tree to impress the girl of his dreams. However, in his journey, he has to overcome a number of obstacles.
I don't know this one.
I will say it is based off a book that helps you.
based off a book.
by quite a
Okay.
famous
What
author.
tree was it? Is it like
Truffle
a
tree.
Oh, is it Horton Hears a Who?
Oh, that's so close. It's the Lorax.
Ah, it's the same thing. No.
You're in the right theme though. Like,
Yeah. Oh, you could have given me a second before you revealed it. Oh, the Lorax. I've never seen it, I don't think. Or I have, and I've just forgotten.
it was the so they did like I think in the 80s and 90s they had like an animated version, but that was more, the still sort of simplistic animation where I think they did one in 2014 if I remember correctly, or 2012, and it's quite CGI animation,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
there's like a lot of sort of musical numbers in it.
Taylor Swift's in that.
Well, that's your selling point there, isn't it?
Yeah, so I did look it up just now.
No, I mean, I can't remember. I think DeVito actually plays the Lorax, if I remember correctly. I
Mm.
can't. I haven't seen the film in a while, but he is involved in that film. Anyway, you've lost one, but you can still go strong here. So we'll bring it back with this next one. The gang is back, but the game has changed. As they return to rescue one of their own, the players will have to brave parts unknown, from deserts to snowy mountains, to
Is it
escape the
like
world.
Jumanji, like 2?
I will give you
The new
Jumanji 2,
Jumanji?
yes. Jumanji the next level, I will give you Jumanji 2, though, because you knew it before I'd even finished.
Yeah,
Uh,
and also the internet cut out there for a second, so I only got a few words. So
well,
not
that's
too
even
bad
better for you
there.
then. You've smashed that one out there perfectly. But yeah, that's Jumanji the next level. I was so drawn into the original films when they were just playing on a board, but then um, there's just something
Did
about
you ever
like,
see Zathura?
was that the space one where they went like
Yeah,
it's
yeah, that was a space one. That
that's
was
the thing,
actually really good.
because when I saw like the new films, I was like, I can't remember the space film. I was like, there's something like really weird. I was like, it's the same format, but I swear they're just like two rocket ships playing around. But that's the one where it's like people are like showing up at different ages and all that, and it was like it's the
Yeah,
same sort of premise because it's the same sort of film because it was done by the same people. Um,
yeah, young Kristen Stewart in that,
oh wow,
and other, like also there's that comedian as well.
that
Yeah,
comedian, the
I used to
well-known
watch it
one.
a lot. I think it's a comedian.
Well, it's really interesting 'cause that's the film that like people just say to me they don't remember.
2005. Dax
2000.
Shepard,
Oh
not a
wow.
comedian.
But no, 2005. That's the film that like I feel like I describe it to people and people just look at me like I'm a bit weird. Like I've never heard of that one.
Yeah, it's like a Mandela effect type film. You're like, oh, I swear that did exist. I watched something like that.
I was like, yeah, I've watched it, but then everyone's like, oh, it sounds like you're talking about Jumanji. Are you sure you're not talking about Jumanji? I'm like, no, I'm sure it's a different film. They're in space.
Oh no, original Jumanji, incredible, very
Oh,
good.
completely, yes. Anyway, moving on. That's just solid first point there. Um, the son of Zeus and Hera is stripped of his immortality as an infant and must become a true hero in order to reclaim it.
Could you repeat one more time?
The son of Zeus and Hera is stripped of his immortality as an infant and must become a true hero in order to reclaim it.
Is it like Peter? Is it like not Peter Jackson? It's
You're on the right trail of thought. I know what you're thinking. It was an animated film. I'll give you that.
animated. All right. Well, this changes things. Could you one more time, bro?
The son of Zeus and Hera is stripped of his immortality as an infant and must become a true hero in order to reclaim it.
And it's an animation.
It's an animation. When you hear the name, you'll recognize it straight away if you don't know it.
Oh, I don't know this. I don't think.
Do you want
I
to throw
don't
out a random
know.
guess?
Is it? Son of Hera. No, I don't know. I'll bring it back.
It's Hercules.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
Because DeVito
Right.
plays the little like
I should have
half
known
man,
that one, to be
half
fair.
goat person. Anyway, that's fine though. You've still got your first solid point on this.
Oh, yeah, I forgot
We'll
Danny
bring it back with
DeVito.
this next one. A deformed man calling himself the Penguin wreaks havoc across Gotham with the help of a cruel businessman.
Do I have to say the right film?
I will give you a point if you know the film I'm talking about, and I'll give you an extra point if you can give me the correct name.
All right, it's Batman.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Not Batman Forever.
Not Batman
Not
Forever. That was
Batman and Robin. Not is it like is it Batman 2? I don't. No,
it,
it's Batman Returns.
it is Batman Returns. You brought it back there at the last second. It is Batman Returns. That was the the person who does all the quite dark films, and I've lost his name
Tim
now.
Burton.
Tim Burton. I knew it was a Tim, but I was going to say something like Tim Drake, but it's not him. But yes, because DeVito plays like the Penguin, it is a Tim Burton look for him, 100%. But anyway, that gives you your second point there. So you're bringing it back like you said you would. A young elephant whose oversized ears enable him to fly helps save a struggling circus.
Is this like the new Dumbo?
It is the new Dumbo. I'm very impressed with that. That was one where like DeVito, I think, plays the circus master or whatever. But I don't ever remember anyone talking about that one because Disney have redone a lot of their films.
Yeah.
You don't always hear like some of them. They talked about like Aladdin got a loads of like people talking, but then it's like the iconic performance of the genie was being done by someone else.
Aladdin was directed by Guy Ritchie.
Was it really?
So I find that one. Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
wow.
And what's the monkey one?
The monkey one.
You know, the kids, and he's in the.
Are you on about the jungle,
jungle
by any chance?
Yeah, and that was done by dude who did Iron Man. He's also chef.
Oh wow. Although I do like that
you a tidbit of information.
Your connection to the film is the monkey one. Anyway,
yeah.
With your extra point I gave you for your Batman one, you are on 4 points at the moment, so you're coming in strong here. Anyway, this next one might throw you a bit, so we'll see how well you know DeVito. Two neighbors have it out after one of them decorates his house for the holidays so brightly that it can be seen from space.
It's not like Jingle All the Way, is it?
It's not Jingle All the Way, no.
It's Sleigh, no.
You're on the right thing for Christmas. That is definitely you're on the right sort of motivation line.
I think I've seen this as well. As if it's not Jingle All the Way, because that's the one with Arnold Schwarzenegger in it.
It is the one with him in it. It is a lesser known one, I think. What was that?
No, I'm just trying to remember. I don't know it.
It's Deck the Halls.
Deck the Halls. Damn it.
Anyway,
I remember that.
We'll move on to our next one. This one does actually also star Arnold. I'll give you as a hint. A physically perfect but innocent man.
Twins.
I've gave you too much of a hint there. I've never known someone who knows what Twins is. The perfect film.
It's such a weird film.
It was like on Netflix, and I sat and watched the whole thing, and it's Arnold and Danny DeVito are twins in a film, and it's like the concept alone still now amazes me. Like
it's hilarious.
It's such a weird film, and like just the whole energy to the film is just fantastic. Like that was when in comedies would just someone pitched that, like someone literally was like, we'll get these two famous actors who look nothing alike, and we're gonna make them twins.
Yeah.
But anyway, you're
a spirit at the time, a zeitgeist. But yeah.
Anyway,
point for me.
That's a solid point for you there, friend. So you're on 5 points here. This next one, I think, again, feel free to cut me off when you know it. You'll recognize it, I reckon. In a desperate attempt to win a basketball match and earn their freedom, the Looney Tunes seek the aid of a retired basketball champion.
Space Jam.
It is Space Jam.
They're actually making a new one of those.
Yes.
With, what's his name? The big basketball player.
Oh, it eludes me because I saw some news articles about that. But they are planning to like kind of redo a new one.
Oh, what's his name?
I feel like this is just drawing more interest to you for like potential sequels.
It is LeBron James.
I'm just curious.
The Space Jam: A New Legacy coming out 2021.
That's the film for 2021 that will,
in the cinema,
be in the Oscars and everything. Anyway, this next one, I'd almost just give you the point straight away because I know for a fact as soon as I start, you'll know it. Five friends with big egos and arrogant attitudes are the owner of an Irish pub in Philadelphia.
It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yes,
Great
that was
show.
when I wrote this one. I was like, we've definitely you and me have sat and chatted about like how much we love the show.
Mm.
Um, because I was like, that's gonna be
FX really struck a gold mine because it's very, very good. It's like the worst characters you'll ever see, but they all get up to hilarious antics and stuff. And they're all like funded by this really rich dude who Danny DeVito plays.
Oh yes, I mean,
All their schemes.
I still remember the pilot. It's such a fantastic pilot, and that was like made on a low budget. But it's like you could tell their writing would carry them through, even if like the budget wasn't there.
Yeah, that's kind of the goal. You really want to like a set of friends that could write as well as they can act, and you just get that camera out and just play with it.
Completely. Anyway, you're on a solid 7 here, so you've scored more than the average. So we'll see if you can claw your way into the second place spot with your last question. The staff of a New York City taxi cab company go about their jobs while they dream of greater things.
Say again.
The staff of a New
Is
York...
it Taxi?
It is Taxi, yes. That is probably the one I expected no one to know because I was like, it's such an old show, but it's like one of DeVito's first big, making a name for himself things. But Taxi, it's such a bizarre sitcom.
Yeah, I've never seen it. I've just heard of it. I don't know what's it about. Like, let's have a look.
I think it's just sort of like your run-of-the-mill sort of sitcom, but it was, I believe, filmed in the 80s. I'm now curious.
It's a good concept in a way. You could just like get loads of interesting characters in the car with your lead. Kind of cool. I don't know if it holds up.
I mean, that's always the question. Can something from the 70s or the 80s still hold up as comedy now? But anyway, that's a solid 8 points for you there. So you have scored higher than the average, and you've taken the second place spot.
Can't believe if I had Hercules, I would have been.
You'd been up there.
The top.
You'd been right at the top. And I thought, to be honest, there's some of the other ones that were like more mean that you knew. Hercules was the one that was going to throw you.
Right, what else have we got here? What else has he done? One flew over the cuckoo nest. I forgot about that. Man on the Moon. I didn't even know he was in. Oh, well.
But these are all fantastic DeVito films. I feel like I've got you hooked now to relive some DeVito classic films. But anyway, that sort of brings us towards the end of our show. So what sort of social media platforms can people find you on, Jordan?
Well, I'm on Instagram and Twitter with like just at Jordan Sayward on both, I think. And my phone number is...
No, look, we don't give that bit out. We don't give addresses out. But anyway, yes.
Yeah, so that should be enough.
Check out the links below in the description for that. You can find us on Excellent News Delivery on Facebook, excellent_news_delivery on Instagram. Follow us on there for updates weekly and subscribe to this channel as we have on different guests each week. Thank you so much for being a part of this, Jordan. And we'll see you all.
Thank you for asking.
Next time.
Asking me on. I'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.
Bye.